We're here in Rio de Janeiro, and I guarantee you this will be an unforgettable experience as you get to taste the food, the culture, have experiences with the historical aspect of Brazil. That's right, one of the major parts of the African diaspora. And guess what? We want you to join us here in Brazil. The views are amazing, the food is spectacular, and the experience is unforgettable. And the only thing that's missing is you. Join us.
Fred, Mali, Burkina Faso are essentially matching the US's energy, as they say, aura for aura, band for band, because the US added them to this travel ban. As of today, they can't come to the United States. They have done the same. They're following the footsteps of Chad, that also banned United States citizens from going to that country after they were added to this travel ban. And state media in Niger have said that they, too, will be applying similar reciprocal arrangements to block US citizens from going to Niger. As of today, 1st January 2026, about 12 African country citizens cannot come to the United States. Another 14 are under partial restrictions. This is one of the largest travel bans to ever affect the African continent. Almost half of all African nations' citizens cannot come to the United States without restrictions, and that is a large number. In the grand scheme of things, 67% of all these nations that are under these partial or full travel restrictions are in Africa. And that is why you see there's this criticism that this is a travel ban affecting mostly African and Muslim nations around the world. Some of the nations included in this are Syria, Laos. The Palestinian Authority issued passports were under the initial arrangement announced by the White House. So it covers around much of the global South. And it tracks with what President Trump has said, that he is interested in permanently pausing immigration from third world nations. So many of these countries in Africa, in Asia, and Latin America from coming to the United States. And that's reflected in these continuous bans that affect many of these nations. But this reciprocal arrangement that these African nations are doing are interesting because Mali and Burkina Faso are ruled by military juntas. They are under military rulers that took over power without a democratic process. And Niger, which has also reportedly put in a similar reciprocal arrangement, is also under military ruler. They have formed their own alliance called the Alliance of Sahel States, and they have been pushing back on any kind of Western influence in their countries. So many people are supporting them for standing up to the United States. Obviously, they can't stand up economically, but at least they're showing some dignity and respect in trying to stand back and push back on that, Frederica.
All right, fascinating. Larry Madowo in London. Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about power for a moment, right? And not the kind that shouts, but the kind that calculates. Because right now, nearly half of African countries can no longer enter United States without visa restrictions. Now, President Donald Trump has expanded America's travel ban again, and Africa is right in the crosshairs. And here's the part that surprised people. Only 4 African countries swung back. And of course, that is Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Chad. And everyone else, well, they swallowed it. And no, that doesn't mean that they're weak, but it simply means that they understand the game, right? Now, let me be clear for a moment, right? This is not about dignity versus cowardice. That's not what we're on about today. But this is about who can afford to clap back and who can't. Because, of course, right, you don't swing at someone if they still pay the bills, right? That's not submission at all. That's survival strategy. So let me translate this geopolitics into Gen Z terms, all right? So America said, my house, my rules, and that's sovereignty flex, of course. And Mali and Burkina Faso looked back and said, aura for aura, band for band, you block us, we block you. Clean, symmetrical, principled. But of course, most African governments did a different calculation because for many African nations, the United States is still student visas, is still elite education pipelines, it's still trade access, there's still aid as well, security cooperation. So the doors that might be closed today but matter tomorrow. So governments have looked at the ban and said, okay, we don't like it, but we're not burning the bridge as yet. And let me be honest about what America is doing here for a second, right? Because this isn't about safety, it's about reasserting hierarchy. Simple. The message is quite clear, right? We decide who moves, we decide whose passport matters, and you don't even get a vote on it. That's empire behavior, and Africa is expected to accept it quietly. Now, let's talk about why Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Chad responded differently. These countries are already decoupling, right? They are redefining security partnerships, as we know. They have cut ties with the Western military influence. They have pivoted away from Washington and Paris, and they're constantly reshaping who they answer to. So for them, retaliation wasn't symbolic, but it was consistent. So when you're already breaking away, you don't flinch. And that's aura for aura, right? Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. America can afford to be emotional. Africa cannot. America flexes sovereignty. Africa calculates consequences. And that's the asymmetry. And until African economies are fully independent, and until visas aren't lifelines, most governments will choose access over anger, unfortunately. But don't get it twisted. This isn't permanent loyalty. Every restriction chips away at goodwill. And every ban accelerates alternatives. And every closed door pushes Africa to build new one. And I believe that's a beautiful thing because you can already see it, right? There's South-South partnerships. You have BRICS. You have new education corridors. There's alternative financial systems now. I mean, retaliation doesn't always look like bans. Sometimes it looks like quiet diversification. So here's the bottom line, right? Yes, America flexed, but Africa didn't fold. It recalculated, some swung back, others stayed quiet, and not because they don't have pride, but because survival comes before symbolism. Aura for aura doesn't always mean retaliations. For some, sometimes it means playing the long game better than your opponents expect. And trust me, Africa is watching, learning, and adjusting to everything that is happening. Let's continue the conversation in the comment section. I do want to hear what your thoughts are on this, and while you're at it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. That's it from me. Till we meet again, it is bye-bye for now.